Hey, welcome to our live show. We're live all over the place this morning on Labor Day weekend. I am joined by Paul, soon to be Jason, we hope. And can you guys handle one more breakdown of Saturday's game? Really? Can you? We've been doing that a lot. so, but I think each day brings a little bit new perspective, and I don't know. Kirk Ferentz has said that Spencer's starting, and I know in last night's podcast we spent probably 90% of it having a Spencer Petras roast
Mhm.
last night, and not that the line didn't have some issues, it did. But Spencer did have his own issues too. So I don't know what to say. That hasn't really been said already. Jason had some things in different perspective he wanted to bring this morning, and so hopefully he gets on real quick.
Mm.
And okay,
Well,
so Paul, just give me your personal takeaway. I know that you generated some conversation with what you said the other day on that one post. You want to um re-talk about that a little bit? Some of that stuff you posted?
yeah,
Let the
yeah,
folks know that
absolutely.
didn't see the post.
Yeah. So, I had kind of made a point here uh, that obviously we all know the team didn't score a touchdown. Neither team scored a touchdown. Offense, defense, special teams, nobody scored a touchdown. But in particular here, Iowa did not score a touchdown. They lost the turnover battle and missed a field goal and still came away with a win.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to take it a step further, time of possession, which is another key factor when Iowa is playing winning football, was basically even. Iowa did walk away with 27 seconds more time of possession than South Dakota State. So uh, these are the factors, when you hear on TV, you hear the coaches. What do they talk about are the winning formulas for winning football games? Don't turn the ball over, win the turnover battle. That's always number one. Uh, you can't miss gimme field goals when the other team's giving you the ball inside their 30-yard line. You have to come away with points.
Mm-hmm.
We failed to do that once. Uh,
You know what's sad about that one?
mm,
I walked away from the TV taking the field goal for granted.
right.
I went to refresh my food, and I come back and I sit down. What?
Mm,
It's still 0-0.
yeah.
What happened to the field goal?
Right. So, I mean, it's really unprecedented, all things considered. I mean, you'd almost have to use the word historic, at least in context to the modern day football game. The time of possession for everyone isn't necessarily uh, a factor, right? I mean, if you're one of those teams that wants to go fast and tempo, and whether or not you're controlling the clock might not be that big of an issue. But if you're Iowa and the style of offense that the style of play we want to use, I mean, I hate to say style of offense because whatever we trotted out there against San Diego State's defense, I wouldn't call offense. It was offensive to watch, but I wouldn't call it offense. Uh, you know, it is what it is. I mean, I think we've grown used to, as Iowa fans, over the last few years, maybe even for a lot of Kirk's tenure, minus, 2004, 2002, 2009. Those are kind of outliers. 2015, um, where a simple penalty is enough to basically stop an Iowa drive in its tracks. That's what it's been. A false start or a holding penalty. We might as well trot the punter out right now because the odds that we're gonna come back from being behind the chains seem pretty low. Um, and I get that that's the case for a lot of offenses, especially if you're playing against a good defense. But for Iowa, it's especially true. And that really wasn't even the issue on Saturday. It wasn't as if Iowa was committing a ton of false starts and a ton of holdings, and that's what was killing drives. It was so much more than that. That I mean, it was to the point where I have to believe this is what Kirk was thinking, is just that putting, taking Spencer out wasn't going to change the fact that we weren't blocking particularly well. Guys weren't getting a ton of separation. When they were, it was an all-around bad performance. And I don't think for a second Kirk thought, well, if I just pull Spencer out, everything around him is going to get magically better. So I think that they've got a lot of work to do this week. They're certainly, them. Hey, don't, we should probably all feel bad for them, because, we only had to sit through it once. Those guys had to actually watch the tape of this. So,
they gotta watch. Yeah, they had to watch it twice, according to Spencer.
Unless you're, a total degenerate like Jason, who's probably already watched it 3 or 4 times and broken it all down.
And he's got it on the 4th time in the background.
Right. He's ready to go here. He's ready to roll.
Let's just interrupt real quick before we get started with Jason. Jason, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Okay. I do want to point out we forgot to mention Terry Sensi by Terry at the top of the show, who was graciously enough to as supporting us on this podcast, and so her link to her website is up there. It'll be up and down throughout the show, depending on the comments we get. Once we get a lot of comments, it will be a little while before it pops back up, but it'll always be there during the show sometime. Take it away, Jason.
Before
anything else you want to say?
Yeah. I just want one more thing. At the high school level, they run stairs, they run wind sprints, they do things. When I'm telling you, after that football game, win or not, I'm pretty sure Kirk and Brian came into the locker room and said, "Offense, get dressed, but do not leave, because we're going straight to the film room. We're going to all relive this together." So that was the punishment. So
yeah, well, I believe that's what Spencer said, that they'd be watching film that night and again on Sunday. So
God, I hope so. With the QB coach, I really hope Bud Meyer is watching the film with Spencer, because I'm trying to, stay calm or whatever. I don't want to, because even yesterday I was a little fired up, so that's why I was like, we got it. I hope I shut up. I hope I don't talk too much. But I 100% what Paul said about the blocking and all that. But good Lord, there's a reason the offensive line looked confused sometimes. It's like what South Dakota State, and I think, was it Kirk that said they threw stuff at us we didn't expect? So probably they threw some stuff in just for the Iowa game to make Spencer beat them. Because Bruce should have had 12, 15 catches this game. Bruce was wide all day.
He was.
They had nobody that could cover him. They had nobody, and in my mind, okay, I don't want to go too far, but Spencer could have. He didn't lose the game, right?
Right.
I think the reason Kirk didn't pull him is because he doesn't make mistakes, right? Everybody talks about those 9 interceptions last year, right? But he had 7 interceptions in 2 of those games. So if you take those 2 games out, all the other games, that Iowa won was because he didn't turn the ball over. Yesterday would have been the same. The only way Iowa loses that game is somebody got a phone on? I'm hearing something in my ear. Are you guys hearing it?
I'm hearing it too, but I don't. It's nothing on my end. I'm dead quiet here.
Yeah, same here.
Dead quiet here. I don't.
Terry. It's Terry. He's in the system. Hi, Terry. But this game was the reason it wasn't a comfortable win was 90 or 85% Spencer, because there was times to where the offensive line gave him a pocket, and I took a bunch of pictures yesterday with a clean pocket and a wide open wide receiver, and Spencer threw it at the feet. You remember Alex Wick? Did you see that play, the dig route? A South Coast State player came around the outside, and all he was doing, he was coming down at Spencer's feet, right? He never got to him before the ball was thrown. That was the closest player to Spencer. I mean, he was coming in, but any high school quarterback would have made that dig route throw. There was nobody around Alex Wick. You remember that play? You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
The dig route right over the middle. So we can't. And Bruce was so wide open, and Laporta, yeah, he dropped a couple, but I mean, so you could say that about Laporta, but Spencer also missed him on a couple wide open. Nobody around Spencer. This is why I'm so hard on Spencer, is because all the stuff I was hearing, and he worked hard, but maybe he is just a quarterback who looks good in shorts, right? So, and yesterday just made me, after watching the game as many times I did, because I gave the one, like Paul, he probably only watched it once. The one time I watched it live, I blamed the offensive line, right? Because it did not look good. And when you're watching, you could see the offensive line just looks lost. There was a couple times that Dijon was watching butterflies. He legit didn't know who to block, what to do. There was one time where he was like off to the left. The play was going here, and there was nobody to block over here because they did a stunt or they slanted, and Dijon was like looking around. And I'm like, what the? So, yeah, there are those moments.
Yeah, Colby was like that too.
What?
There was Colby too. He also.
Oh, you're right.
They got a good one of him blocking air, and then on a play that Spencer got sacked.
Yes, and you're right. And I actually talked about that yesterday with somebody because he was confused on that play on who to block. He thought he was supposed to block down, but at least he tried to block somebody. There's a couple plays that John didn't block anybody. Like, he didn't know. So I'm gonna guess that that's what South Dakota State did. They came in with a completely different defense. Let's try to put pressure on Spencer and see what they could do, because they are so small, right? If you saw in the second half, Iowa was starting to get a push. They were starting to be able to run the football. So,
I just want to point out too for everybody, like, because everybody wants to start blaming Brian and blaming the coaches as well. Look at it from this perspective. We left points on the field. We missed the field goal. The second time, they gave us the ball almost in the red zone, and we only came away with 5 yards and 3 points. We had the fumble inside. I think we were inside the 10 or inside the red zone.
We were at. I thought we were at the 1 when that happened. He fumbled on the 1.
It was inside the 5-yard line. He would have been at the 1 had he not fumbled. He was going in, remember, and as he was going, he got turned because the linebacker grabbed the football.
Right. So, yeah.
LaShawn landed on the 1, but he didn't have the ball.
So, literally, as bad as it was, and it was bad, it was ugly. We all watched it.
Yeah.
And yet we were a good strip by, by the way, those guys, I don't know if they're on scholarship, all of them, but they're good athletes too, and their kid made a play on that strip. I mean, it was the ball was carried well and everything. You can't look at that and go, well, whatever. Their guy did a good job on it.
It was the kid from Salone too. He played his butt off. That kid from Salone, the middle linebacker.
Yeah.
I mean,
he was as good as advertised.
I'm just saying, yes, it was ugly. Yes, it was 7-3. No, Iowa didn't score any touchdowns, but it's not as, and maybe that makes it worse. I don't know. Maybe the fact that they were down there so close, on at least 3 occasions, and the best we could muster out of that whole situation is 3 points. I mean, maybe that makes it worse. I don't know. But I'm looking at this going, it's not like go the other direction with it and look at this from South Dakota State's perspective, as far as what they were able to do offensively. And, we turned the ball over. They converted it into 3 points. Outside of that, the only worse offense in the country than Iowa was theirs.
Yeah,
And
I think it was. The funny when you bring it up like that, it's kind of I want to say it was Parker that said, and yes, those 3 points go against the defense because we gave up 2 first downs. Like right. Parker is he's like a drill sergeant, or I don't know how to explain. He's like a military dude. He really is. And that's why, he loves, doing what he does with Iowa's defense. He wants to be the all-star. He wants that challenge. He wants you to punt the ball away with 2 minutes to go in the game, and he wants the game to be in his hands. He wants the game to be 17-16. We can't give up field goal defense. He loves that kind of pressure. He just loves that kind of that's starting to drive me a little crazy. But that's what Parker likes. Is that getting louder? Can you guys hear?
It's almost like there's some kind of interference from the outside.
Is somebody spying on you in California, Dean?
No, we're good here.
But can you hear, Paul?
Hear what?
Okay, so you don't hear the interference?
No.
It's almost like a couple of radio people are talking to each other.
Yeah, you can hear a whole other conversation, but obviously in Florida, they're protected. So.
Oh, Paul, yeah, you got some in your ear for your headphones, Jason? I can't tell.
Me? No.
Yeah, you got. So you're clear.
Yeah.
Okay, I can hear it clearly on my. I can hear it clearly on my headphones. The interference.
Mine comes out of my camera. I have a camera that's separate from everything else.
Okay.
That's what. So mine's. This is what it's always like. But yeah, it's like we're hearing a radio station. And it's really driving me crazy. But
weather and traffic on the tubes.
But
my Alexa wakes me up with traffic report every morning. Good morning. Traffic in your area is lighter than usual, but it is Labor Day.
Alexa is not going to come near my house. But anyway, and I'm just going to say, I realize I was a little harsh on Petrus, right? But he's a senior. Right. He's been through it all. This is it, right?
Right.
An average senior quarterback yesterday would have thrown for 300 yards. After rewatching and seeing how he had a pocket on a lot of plays, and Bruce and Wick, just go back to the 4th play of the game. Just go. Don't watch the whole thing. Just watch. You remember Iowa got a first down, right? In the first drive, they got their first down. The 4th play of the game, go back to that. And the funny part was, it's that formation that I just created out of nowhere when we did our first play of the game.
Right.
But Wick on that exact play action pass, bootleg, Alex Wick was wide open, literally right in front of him. Granted, he could have got 6 yards, but it would have been 2nd and 4, which is what you need to keep doing, right? Instead, he throws it to Laporta on the comeback. I think it was Laporta on the comeback route deeper when he was covered. So it didn't make any sense, whatsoever to me, because all he had to do was turn his head. Alex Wick wide open, hit him, and then let's go to 2nd down. 2nd down to 4, you can do a lot of things, right? So that's why I'm so hard on Petrus, because I've watched the game so many times, and it wasn't all the offensive line, right? And even on the interception he threw, if he had his wits about him. I want to say it was Bruce. I think it's the ex-receiver was wide open on a skinny post from the outside. So that ball could have been gone early before he rushed it and threw that interception. Because the interception only happened because he rushed just to get rid of it, right? The pressure was there. However, a second before that actually happened, which seconds are very important to a quarterback, just 1 second, if he sees that skinny post wide open, just chuck it to him. He has an arm. Spencer has an arm, right? Just throw the skinny post that was open. Remember the pass to Bruce for 22 yards? That was right down the middle? That was an NFL caliber throw. It reminded me of the Nate Stanley moment to ISM against Iowa State. And remember in the rain? It was 3rd and like 25 or whatever. And Stanley just drilled ISM, and he was on the ground. He caught the ball like this. It was a perfect throw. Do you remember that at all? It was in the fourth. I believe it was on the one drive Iowa scored a touchdown on that kept that drive alive, and then they ended up going down and scoring a touchdown. So, and Petras made that kind of throw to Bruce in between 2 defenders. Like, it was beautiful for it was like 3rd and 22, if I remember right.
Yeah, that was our biggest play of the day.
Go ahead.
I just want to say, look, there's guys in the military, and I'm a military veteran, so I can speak to this. They can go to the gun range, pick up the gun, and shoot every target center mass. Now put them in a wartime situation where bullets are coming back their direction. They couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. So,
is that okay? Is that are you comparing that to like what I said about Petras being good in shorts?
Yes.
Okay. That's what I thought. I just want to make sure. That made 100% sense to me.
Yeah, I maybe he looks real good in the red jersey. Completes everything,
Right. And he
probably
probably
doesn't in the pocket. Uses that.
He doesn't have a fear of being. He's not going to get hit in that red jersey. He doesn't have a fear of getting hurt, or getting touched.
Right.
So maybe,
go ahead.
As maybe for Iowa State, maybe we trot Spencer out in a special red jersey for the game.
Now, Iowa State, you're not allowed to touch him. You're not allowed to tackle him. Okay, that's our rules we're playing by today.
You know what? Just to screw with people, trot him out in a red jersey for warm-ups. Like we just want to get your confidence up before the game. Everything's going to be okay.
I mean, when people were calling Brian out, like this was Brian's fault, when there was wide open receivers all over.
Brian doesn't throw the ball.
Right. Brian called that screen pass.
Plays.
Oh God, that screen pass would have been a touchdown.
Yes, no one wants to say that.
Green grass for that. It was.
The announcer even said that. The announcer was like, "Oh boy, that would have been sick." There was nobody around him, and on a screen pass, you don't throw a bullet. So this is what really got me with Spencer, because I saw that play, Paul, again, and I was like, "What the heck?" So I rewound it. Because everybody knows on a screen pass, unless it's designed, obviously, and this wasn't one of those, you lob it. Yeah. So the running back just goes and gets it and turns around and screams, go, go, go. So the offensive line knows the running back has the ball, right? All a screen pass is you get back and you, unless it's designed differently, right? You just lob it because you got to give time for a running back to see it, catch it, and then he's going to turn and it's go, 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 go. So the offensive line knows it's time to go. So
if you go back and watch that,
wait a minute. The one time he lobbed a pass, the catcher couldn't catch it. I can't remember who it was too.
I don't.
He just kind of floated it and lobbed it over the top of the.
Here's the interesting thing about that screen pass that should have went for 6 and was incomplete. This was a masterfully drawn up play by Brian too, because they were faking the bubble screen or the tunnel screen to the right. Yeah. And then they were coming back with the actual screen to the left. And they had the defense going that direction. That's why you could see there was nothing between – the only thing between Daniels or between the running back and the end zone was Iowa offensive linemen.
And I think there was one – it was 3 linemen and 1 SDSU defender, if I remember right. I mean, and that right there, rewatching that is another reason I put a check mark up there against Petras, right? Because that's just a lob. I guarantee in practice he does all of that stuff and then he just because that's all that is. If it was a lob, the only reason he threw it 3 yards away from the running back, right? And it was a rifle. Well, if it's a rifle, the running back can't adjust to anything. But if you lob it up, then the running back can adjust to where the ball is. Because on the screen pass, the passes aren't always going to be perfect because you're letting the defense come in. That's what you want, right? You
well,
want
not if you're Spencer. He wasn't wearing his red jersey.
So you have the ball. You're telling everybody, yeah, come get me. I'm not, right? That's what that was. And so that's why I know people. Wow. I know people are attacking me because of my take on, Petrus. And I've always been attacked because I was hard on him. I wasn't hard on him as a sophomore. It's just my high school evaluation of him wasn't good, right?
Right.
I rooted for him this year. The kid works hard.
Right.
But there has to be a time to where you're just like, sorry, dude. You just don't have it on game day. Your brain, if your brain is still mush, like in your senior year, and Padilla, it wasn't much better last year, right? After I saw Padilla, I was like, okay, Petrus has to play because Petrus will not lose you the game, right? And Padilla won't do anything because he only completed like 49% of his passes. He did not run. All these people who are like, well, Padilla has, he has wheels. He doesn't use them. Padilla's brain is the same as Spencer's. He thinks he's a pocket passer. Padilla did not roll out of the pocket one time and get a first down. He did not roll out of the pocket and take off and run. There was nothing different between Padilla and Peters except Padilla did not throw a catchable ball last year. Everybody wants to blame the receivers for all the drops. Well, they dropped Petrus's balls too, but he still completed 57% of passes. And the kicker is, and from Hawkeye fans, well, he doesn't throw it, more than 3 yards. Well, Padilla actually averaged less yards per throw than Petrus. So, I mean, and actually, what's sad is Padilla and Petrus were, I want to say it's within 0.4 of the exact same yards per attempt.
So I didn't even realize that.
I'm glad you brought up the fans because this is something that I've seen online too. By the way,
me getting roasted?
Yeah. Well, no. Should fans be booing Spencer? Should they be booing the players? And yeah. You know what? I'm sorry. When at the moment that they decided to start fighting for name, image, and likeness, and thinking that they can start signing $1 million contracts and stuff. I'm sorry, you're not the sweet little boy who's just playing a football game anymore. For now you're making more money than I am. Doing what I do.
You're making more money than most of America if you count their scholarship.
Right, and no, these aren't just amateurs. Whatever. I mean, this is a business. Whatever it is, and people who are spending hundreds of dollars a ticket, spending hundreds of dollars, to tailgate, to travel, to whatever. And they're not above being criticized online or in person.
Did you just see the play behind me by chance?
No, I was too busy going on my own little
talking. That was the play I was just talking about. The skinny post was wide open, and Spencer, and it was early. Spencer was the.
I went back to the media guide to check up on last year on between the Batia and Alex and Spencer.
Anybody know how to pronounce it? I pronounce it two ways, just so I'm right once in a while.
It's Padilla.
It's Padilla.
So
quesadilla.
Somebody call me out because I do say Padilla sometimes.
You do,
but
we just let you slide.
You're not the only one, though. I've heard it Padilla. I've heard it Padilla. I look at it like quesadilla. So
yeah, you have to, Okay. So anyway, Petrus's efficiency rating last year was 117.3. Padilla's efficiency rating was 99.1. So there was quite a drop off right there.
Yeah. That's what I was saying. Once I saw Padilla play, I was like, oh, Spencer's got to play, right?
But,
But
wait a minute now.
year.
Hold up, because I'm going to make the case here for Alex, because we've seen Spencer for 3 years. He's got a ton of starts, experience, and this was San Diego State that we're talking. South Dakota State, sorry, whatever, doesn't matter.
You don't live in California. You don't have that excuse,
right? Well, Dean started me on it, but right. What the sample size we have with Padilla is the Michigan Big Ten championship game, Minnesota, Nebraska,
Northwestern.
Right. He didn't get to exactly pad his numbers against, Ball State. No offense, Ball State.
They got torched by Tennessee, by the way.
Alex didn't have the benefit of playing, quarterback in the COVID year. Yeah, it was against Big Ten teams, but empty stadiums, relatively low pressure compared to what's going on now, with full stadiums and Big Ten championship games and things like that. So I'm just saying, by the way, Alex, he could improve.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
We know what Spencer is. He show me where he's gotten better in the last 3 years. What has he gotten better at doing? Any of it?
Yesterday was nothing. But in a normal year like last year, the only reason they won 2 games The only reason they won 10 games last year. Oh, well. All right. Do I need to call 911? Are we all right?
We're okay.
I don't know where you live. I'll just say it's California. It's California.
Bakersfield. He lives in Bakersfield.
There's only 1 million people here. They'll find me.
Look for the Hawkeye flag.
Look for the Hawkeye flag.
I don't have a Hawkeye flag out there. You guys want to send me one? I got the United States flag out there, but I need to get a Hawkeye flag out there. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, I put my Hawkeye flag up in the man cave. So I don't even have one outside now. I brought it inside, and I'm going to buy another one for outside. But,
I've got a little garden flag out front, but that's it.
Yeah.
Maybe I should do that.
I guess maybe I need to buy that flag now because after yesterday, I need to fly it outside. I need to bring that good karma in. Putting it in my man cave, it didn't give me any karma yesterday on Saturday.
Right.
But no, to get back to Padilla, and no, that's why I want to see Padilla, right? Because there is a chance that he did get better. So we can't go off of the reason I wanted to see Padilla last year because I did evaluations on both of those. Well, I always do every quarterback coming out of Iowa, right? I do evaluations for coaches, all across the country on different, like Gabriel at Oklahoma. I did his. Like I've done it. I do it on I have my top 10 quarterbacks every class. Connor, remember I told you about Connor at Indiana? Why I would not put money on that game? Connor is going to be pretty good if they stop running him. He passed the ball pretty well, just like what I thought he was. I love Connor. He did great at Missouri, and that was with a terrible roster. So Indiana could be back because of Connor. So Padilla and Petrus, I had both exactly the same coming out of high school as far as they were mid 3 stars, both of them. And the only thing that separated them in high school was mobility, right? That's it. Because if you watch Petrus's high school tape, that's all high school coaching. Petrus has the arm, but his receivers were so wide open in high school that he was literally taught to underthrow the receivers, right? Just don't overthrow them. His high school tape did not show you a lot, which is why I only made him a 3-star. Because he has the physical tools. There is a lot of people in this country that have the physical tools. It's up here, right? It's the brain, and he didn't have it in high school, he doesn't have it now. It's that 6 seconds of what's Iowa call it? 6 seconds of hell or something.
Yeah,
remember that
right.
Defense? Which the defense this year it will be. But
oh my God, was that? I gotta say that defense was every bit as good as advertised. They may be number 1, not 3 or 4.
Yeah, no, they're number one in my mind. But anyway, so to your point, Paul, in my opinion, and Padilla has to start this week to only make it fair. He's not going to. We already know it's going to be Peter. But in my opinion, it's to make it a fair competition. Peters did not move the needle. He may have lowered the needle, right? Michigan is doing the same thing. Michigan, now J.J. McCarthy's going to start this week because they're so close that they're going to have one guy start last week and the next guy start this week. And Iowa needs to do the same thing.
Right. I think they need to give after Peters' showing. I do think they need to give Padilla a shot. And if we lose this game or have a very bad showing somehow by Peters, if Padilla ain't out there in the Nevada game playing or even somewhere in the Iowa State game, then I got to question the coach. Why? I mean, he gets paid $7 million a year, so he knows something we don't know if he's not willing to take a chance on Padilla right now, although he's saying high praises for Padilla all summer.
Well, what it comes down to for me is those two guys, from what we've seen out of either one of them, they're better pocket pool players than they are pocket passers. And
where is your brain? Be in your head.
Paul, have you started on your adult beverages already this morning?
To be in Paul's head just for like 10 minutes.
But I mean, now obviously, they've gone back. They've watched the tape of this too. They know what went well and what didn't go well. And look, I think the trouble is either Alex is just Alex in practice as he is in the games, right? Because we've seen Alex in the games, and maybe it looks a lot, but maybe in practice Spencer looks very different, right? Like he's very successful in practice, and the coaches are just waiting for that aha moment to hit where what happens in practice translates to Saturday, and it hasn't happened. And I don't. All I know is, and this isn't gonna break anybody's world wide open here. The offense has to be better on Saturday, one way or another. And the fans were already booing. Ramona says your TV's a distraction, but
you didn't have to turn it off. It's not distracting to me.
The question is, how does the offense get better this week against a team that is going to play better defense? I mean, Iowa State they're not our defense, but I have to believe they're probably going to be a little better equipped to handle us than South Dakota State was from a physical standpoint.
Yeah, I'm just going to say, though, it's similar to, hey, ask Ramona if she can hear all that nonsense, the radioactivity. Can our viewers hear that same thing?
Yeah. Again, it's not coming through on my end at all.
She's online right now, so tell us. Can you hear interference coming through?
What was I going to say?
Or nay?
Well, the thing is, Paul, with Iowa, they 99% of the time they get better from week 1 and week 2, right?
Right.
And really, gosh, I've been hearing so many things that there's a reason that there was that makeshift offensive line. Did you notice that just linemen were just all over the place, playing different spots? So maybe they were holding people out. Maybe like Gavin. There was some holes that Sean missed also.
Right.
And there was a big hole that Johnson missed that I wish he would have saw, because he ended up taking it outside. But if he just cuts inside the fullback, Pottebaum, And with his, skill set and size, it would have been hard to tackle him in the open field if he just takes that hole.
But yeah, but Johnson gets a pass. He's a true freshman, and
no, you're right. I'm not knocking him.
Yeah,
I'm not knocking him even a little bit, right? He is a true freshman. But if he would have just saw that hole, that's the only thing. I'm not knocking him at all. He was getting his first carries of his career, but it just, if he had an angel pointing, hey, right there, it would have been fun to see. But also a running back has to see those kind of holes, especially in Iowa's style of offense, right? And LaShawn missed a few holes. So there was a lot of times where the offensive line did its job, but the running back just didn't go through the right hole, right?
Yeah.
And that's the point to me. Whereas Petrus is a senior, you want, as a quarterback, I'm just going to tell you, Mike Leach. I'm just going to use Mike Leach because you guys know he's my dog. He's my favorite, right? He wants you to blitz him. He doesn't want you to drop 8 and rush 3. He wants you, like right now. I bet you. Ramona says yes. That stinks. What is that? Warbly. I need to.
Warbly. Which one of y'all is Warbly here? Okay.
Oh, Ramona. Oh, Frayne. I just saw the last name. Ramona must be one of the Fraynes.
She's on the Frayne train.
She's on the Frayne train. But I can't hear you. What's going on now? I'm thinking California is just having some issues. That's what I think. I guess, but so Petrus needs to accept this challenge. Iowa State's probably going to do pretty much similar to South Coast State. They're going to see what South Coast State did. And, they're like, heck, let's just play man-to-man because the quarterback's going to have to hit the receiver. Even if our corners get beat, the quarterback's going to have to get him the ball, right?
Right.
Let's just send the house and see if Petra can do anything.
It would be criminal at this point if the first play of the game isn't like a max protect. I don't care if it's just I don't care who it is. Send somebody deep and just chuck it. You just show, if nothing else. Look, if that's what you're going to do, if you're going to put 8-9 in the box and say we're going to take away the run and force you to beat us with the pass, we're at least going to take a token shot here, and you're going to open yourself up to that kind of potential. Because even a blind squirrel finds a nut.
Right. Max protect. That's exactly what I called for yesterday. First play of the game, max protect, Bruce on the post. Next on the figure out. So what you're saying, Paul, is exactly what I wanted yesterday or Saturday. I agree. I 100% agree with you. Max protect and let Iowa State come. And we know Petrus can throw the ball when he knows what he's doing, right? Let him throw that post route. That's what he did at the Manning Academy. He wowed everybody because of what he did at the Manning Academy. Yeah. Now it's going crazy. That you don't hear any of that, Paul?
Not a bit.
Okay. But yeah, no, you're 100% right, Paul. That's what I would love for him to do. Max protect, because Iowa State's going to be coming. Stop with this. And Paul had somebody on last night. I don't know that guy's name. He had Ben and somebody else.
Brad.
Okay. Brad was onto something. Like and what he was saying was exactly what I was yelling during the game. They did not attack the outside.
Right.
Bruce got the one carry and picked up 12, 15 yards, whatever it was. Mm-hmm. Why the hell would you not do that again? Like, it's like they're just saying, look, we're going to win or lose with you, Spencer. We don't give a crap. And because they had wide open receivers, so the play calls were good, but that's not, if your quarterback's not doing it and they have everybody daring you, right, to get to the edge. Bruce should have had 5-6 carries yesterday. That's if I could knock Brian, because if you didn't notice, what made me feel like Brian, he really does have the keys to the offense. You know how many times they threw the ball on first and second down yesterday? A lot. Yeah. Like, it was a complete different show. Normally, if he threw it on first down and ended up 2nd and 10, they would run the ball. They didn't do that yesterday. They threw the ball a lot, more than they should have, considering they're going up against a team that averaged 200 pounds. But
yeah. By the way, I just want to say this too, because I feel really bad for the guys on defense and special teams. The offense was so bad that we can't even sit here and talk about how great the defense was and how great Torrey Taylor was and how great Terry Roberts was. And number 3, I drawn a blank, getting down there and downing those punts inside the 10.
Oh, you're talking about Cooper.
Yeah, Cooper DeJean.
Yeah, he caught the. I mean, literally, he was the punt return. He got down there and he caught it at the 2-yard line.
and we're 46 minutes into this, and we haven't even really been able to talk about how good those guys were against a very good, very competent offense, scrambling, running quarterback, the kind of offense that would normally give our defense some fits. And they couldn't get out of the shadow of their own goalpost like all day long. And, and we can't even hardly talk about it because we have to have this, therapy session on the offense.
I mean, really, that's what it is. I should invite my wife in to give us all mental therapy.
And how does that make you feel?
After watching the game as many times as I did, I needed it. But
for as bad as we're ragging on Spencer, the other quarterback was even worse.
Well, against Iowa's defense, I mean, you gotta go. I mean,
yeah. But that's what I'm saying is Spencer outperformed him.
Well, no,
against Iowa's defense.
What would Spencer's numbers have looked like if he had to start how many drives inside the 5-yard line? We couldn't score points when we were getting the ball on their half of the field.
You mean
I got a feeling if we had been starting. I got a feeling if we were starting on the 5-yard line, we'd have done a few more running plays, and I think we could have broke a few.
I don't know.
You don't think so?
Well, I don't know. They would have ran the ball, but would they have broken? The running backs have to. They have to see the holes. Mm-hmm. I really think they need to run the ball more at a shotgun.
I have a question, and because I know you've watched the game multiple times, and two different possessions, we started the ball deep in their territory. We got down there, would have had the ball, but we fumbled at the 1. How many times did we attempt a pass that crossed the goal line? Right? I mean, 0. Right. So, we're getting the ball at the 30-yard line. What would have prevented Spencer from, throwing something towards Laporta high, that he could get that, I watched a lot of football this weekend. I watched that Florida State LSU game last night. I watched Florida Utah. I watched that one Saturday night, and I'm seeing. I watched the Indiana Illinois game. So I tried to watch a lot of different.
What about the Florida State LSU game?
I watched that last night.
Did LSU self-destruct in that game or what?
No, not really.
Florida State did.
Florida State.
Who won
the game?
Florida State.
Florida State. The thing about that game, we could be LSU fans. Did you see how that ended?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you know what?
No.
Block field goal.
Yeah.
But earlier in that game, Florida State went for it on 4th and goal and didn't get it, where they could have easily took a chip shot field goal. That would have been a moot point for all of this, but that kind of got lost. But I'm just saying, I haven't seen, that's the problem. I haven't seen offense that looks like ours. I mean, even the Oregon offense against Georgia didn't look like ours. Like it's tough to watch. It's tough to watch.
But did Georgia take it to Oregon and just take them down?
Oregon better not be ranked either.
No, how bad was it? I mean, I didn't hear about that one.
They got beat 49-3, and it wasn't that close.
No, it wasn't.
It's not the Oregon team of old, apparently.
I think, like I always say, Georgia's Iowa with 5-star players, but in that particular game, they ran 4 and 5 wide.
Yeah,
more than normal. Because normal they just line up and just beat the crap out of you. But I don't think Oregon really expected it. But they came out in 4 and 5 wide a lot, and I was like, whoa. It's kind of like when Iowa does it once in a while, and you're like, oh, dang. That like a couple times last year when on 3rd and 1, they came out in 4 and 5 wide. And
why doesn't Iowa do more of that when they're packing the box the way they are? Iowa State's going to pack the box this week, right? Why don't we go that and just say, hey, if you want to do that, we're going to beat you on the edges.
I tweeted to Brian. It was kind of funny to.
Did he block you? Because I got blocked the last time I tweeted something to Brian.
No, I'm not blocked with Brian. I tweeted to him telling him, please run to the outside. I mean, just watch tape because obviously my name's Coach Hack, so he's probably going to think that I think I know everything or whatever. But anyway, I don't know everything. But what I do know that when you have 8 guys, between the center and tackles, attack the edges. They don't have as many people out there. That's when you go with what Hayden Fry used to say, scratch where it itches, right? And that's what Iowa really needs, and that's what Spencer needs to do. That's why I hope John Budmeyer is watching film with Brian and the quarterbacks, because there were so many times that Spencer just took. Like, go back and watch the 4th play of the game. You'll see what I'm talking about. Don't go more than the 4th play because you might get mad again. You might need see a psychiatrist again. But he had wide open receivers, but it's like he has favorites. He's like, yeah, Alex Wick, I see you're open, but Laporta, he's my roommate. I'm going to wait for him. And then, he throws into God's country, or the receiver he's looking at is double covered, which I think is what happened on this exact play is Laporta was doubled. They didn't even cover Alex Wick, and Petrus went to Laporta.
One more thing. Oh, sorry. I just wanted to comment on this, too, because if this isn't the ultimate indictment against Spencer, I don't know what is. We heard in the offseason that they simplified the offense that they
bring that up.
Well, no, the reason I'm saying this is because if you've got a 3-year starter, 5th-year senior, whatever, you're not supposed to have to dumb down the offense. You're supposed to be able to open the offense because this guy's been in the system for 5 years. He's been there longer than, he's been there since they built the old Capitol building in Iowa City.
Oh, God.
You're not supposed to have to dumb it down for him.
I mean, that's
and if you do, what does that tell you, Kirk? He's not the guy. I mean, let's have this conversation. I'm Brian and you're Kirk. So Brian comes to Kirk and says, I think we're going to have to dumb down the offense a little bit to make it more Spencer friendly. Kirk should be going, he's been here almost half my tenure. And I'm the longest tenured coach in the country. What do you mean we got to dumb it down for him? Well,
the thought was to dumb it down so guys like LaBosse, could catch up quicker, right? So you can actually get your talent on the field. That's the idea. But they're not dumbing it down. In their minds, they are, but it's still Ken O'Keefe's verbiage. This is still, in my mind, I'm totally just going crazy on this one because of what I'm witnessing. They're not dumbing the offense down. What Iowa fans like to say, oh, it must be easy because all they do is run the ball. They're still the same verbiage. You make it. You can't see this now, but you see this is like dumbing it down. Like this play call I made for fun. I said double tight. That's the formation. 2 tight ends, right? I left, which it's not it's not really I left. That's how I made it first before I took out the fullback. So it shouldn't say I left. It should say strong left, right? So take the I. It was I. This is dumbing down the offense. So it'd be strong left, which tells the receivers you're on the left side, right? Fake 34 is faking through the 4 hole, right, to your running back. So you're faking the 34, Z post. Well, you're telling the Z that's going to be the primary receiver. So you're telling the quarterback that's your primary, right? Look deep first. And if it's not there, hit the dig route over the middle because this receiver will clear the area, right? This receiver will clear the area. So it's either go over the top if he burns in or just hit the dig route. Like, this is simple stuff. This is one read. You're reading right here.
By the way, he doesn't have to have him beat. He doesn't have to, the post doesn't have to be wide open. What you have to do is be willing to use that big arm of yours, put it out there, and either give the receiver a chance to go get it, possibly draw a pass interference flag. Like, and oh, by the way, if you throw the ball 40, 50 yards downfield and the defender comes up with it, all right, guess what? We're gonna trot the defense back out there. So it's not the worst thing in the world. It's just, I don't know if this is the progressive coaching of don't turn the ball over, don't turn the ball. Because what it sounds like to me, the only thing that's really keeping Spencer out there right now is that he's not a turnover machine.
Yeah. Well, that's how Kirk's always been.
Yeah.
Because you guys know this is Kirk's style.
Right.
That's how we won with Norm Parker as a defensive coordinator. And Iowa fans have been complaining about this for 20 years, right? Outside of 2002, which had everything to do with Brad Banks.
Right.
Because like yesterday, with all those wide open receivers, Brad Banks would have threw for 300 yards easy.
Right.
I mean, and you wouldn't want to blitz Brad because he could beat you, right? Bruce would have had 15 catches yesterday if we had a quarterback like. So Banks made up for a lot of what they want to do, right? That's why that season was the way it is. The thing is, the defense wasn't even that good that year. Like, they had to score a lot of points to win. Remember the Purdue game of 2002? What they have a field goal block for a touchdown. I think they had another block punt for a touchdown. So, I mean, nothing has – even in 2002 it was like that.
That was a good Purdue team in 2002, by the way.
No, you're right. But I'm just saying that – but when everybody talks about stuff like that, you got to just look at history. You just can't be blind about how that season even went. And if I remember right, Dallas Clark went 95 yards for a touchdown in that same game. So it wasn't like the offense was just chugga all the way down the field, racking up yards, It was the same type of deal. Nothing has really changed since Ken O'Keefe. And I really think this is Ken O'Keefe's verbiage. It's his offense. It's how there's so many ways. Look at teams like Mike Leach. Okay, I'm always going to go back to Mike because I that's my offense, the air raid. I understand his offense. Mm-hmm. His quarterback, Will Rogers, was a true freshman last year. Everybody talks about how all these systems like what's his name? Lincoln Riley's, because they score points doesn't mean that they're hard systems. Everybody's like, our system is easy. Go, look at Lincoln Riley's. Look how hard their system is, and they're scoring points. I'm like, no, their system is actually easy to learn, right? Mm-hmm. Which is why they have true freshmen who can come in and play quarterback. Last year, Lincoln Riley had Caleb Williams, the true freshman, my number one quarterback. He's the highest graded quarterback I ever evaluated, Caleb Williams. So what he's going to do at USC is probably going to, it's going to be amazing. But anyway, all these offenses who people play true freshmen at quarterback, it's because their system is pretty easy to pick up because it's all about reps. Mike Leach, everybody talks about how we don't run a lot of plays. We have 100 more plays than Mike Leach could ever dream of having. Mike Leach he runs the same stuff, just different formations. And the route concepts are based on the defense. So if you're coming up and you see your head up the corner's head up on your receiver, you kind of just you're looking you change your routes. The quarterback just has to know what route you're running, judging by the defense. So it's not like Mike Leach just tells them exactly what routes they're going to run. No, if the corner's inside, you're not going to run a slant route. So the quarterback sees it, and you're going to change it and run the out route. Like it's just
or
simple.
the fade or the back.
Yeah, no, you're right. But that's the point about simplifying an offense. I mean, teams that score a lot of points, throw the ball a lot, those offenses are not hard. They're very simple. And I understood what Iowa wants to do as far as – but we haven't had many NFL quarterbacks. We have very smart quarterbacks. Nate Stanley, he never redshirted, and he started as a sophomore. He's really smart, and he has the best Wonderlic test score in the history of the combine, right? The NFL combine. So that kind of shows he's pretty smart. And who's the other sophomore? Drew Tate. Mm-hmm. Drew Tate, same thing. I'm not sure he ever redshirted. I think he was the number 2 quarterback his freshman year. And I'll have to look it up, but I don't think Drew Tate redshirted. And he started his sophomore year. I think he's the other one.
Right, because Drew Tate was the number 1 backup his senior year. I mean, his freshman year.
Okay. That's what I think. I'm going off memory, but I know he started as a sophomore.
But just to show you how immature Drew Tate was a little bit his freshman year, there was a point where he had to go in the game and he had his helmet off and he wasn't even ready. He wasn't ready to go in the game and they needed him in there.
Wow, I don't remember that, but that is, I mean, when you don't have your wits about you as a freshman, you're just taking it all in. That happens. You may want your helmet, son.
I think he was asked about that, and he said he never thought he'd get it in a game.
Yeah.
Well, Jason, what can Brian do going forward? I mean, let's say, look, let's take Kirk as word, right? That Spencer's our guy, right? So I mean, we can bitch on here for an hour about Spencer, but if he's the general we're going to war with, then it is what it is. What can Brian do to put Spencer in positive situations to help him get comfortable early in the game?
Throw a lot of stop routes. But I mean, everything I'm going to tell you is a lot of what they did yesterday.
Right.
I think Dean brought this up on our post game. Bruce ran the secondary was playing back, right? They had linebackers and defensive linemen. They had everybody up. So Bruce ran a stop route, and the ball bounced 5 feet in front of him. It was the easiest pitch and catch. And we know Petrus has the arm. It was all the way out. I think Bruce was probably the X position. It was on the left side, and the ball bounced 5 feet in front of him. And even Bruce, when he was like, he was looking because there was not a defender around him. And with Bruce's moves, he's got skills, right? I mean, and nobody around him, and he's in the open field to where, okay, we're going to get one guy here and then one guy. He can make everybody miss and then make a big play. So I honestly, I don't like ragging on because I gave my honest opinion his sophomore year, right? And then, I'm like, oh, wow, he's working hard. So, I was on the Petrus train after hearing everything that Peyton Manning said about him. Right. But remember, Peyton Manning said he was in shorts. So he was in the Manning Academy in shorts. So there's just a huge difference. So that's I don't know after yesterday, seeing all those wide open receivers, the only thing I can say is I think maybe they were holding things back as far as the plays, the offensive line. They did a makeshift offensive line because they did not think the game would be that close. They held players out. It's they had a vanilla game plan, right? Then more vanilla than normal. But like I said, once again, the receivers were wide open. I mean, and Spencer, he doesn't see it. It's almost like he has favorites. I can go back to the bowl game against Kentucky with Regini. Okay. Oh, what's wrong?
Oh, I'm just reading something that Chad Leisico put out saying that Spencer said all of the plays or a lot of the plays were one block or one throw away from success. And so Chad digs into reality today and decides a little different than what Petrus is saying. He's doing his DVR Monday.
No, I mean it was one. That's exactly how to say it. Because if that one throw would have been good, and that one block, I mean, I totally get what he's saying, but there were so many times where he had a clean pocket, and it was that one throw, right? Then you had the times where he got sacked because the offensive line didn't know who to block. But I guess my point is to make him comfortable. Good Lord. I mean, those were just easy routes there. I mean, I wouldn't make my high school quarterback be that comfortable is what they were doing on Saturday, right? With those easy, because like I said, I run the air raid offense. So you're going to be throwing the football. And if my quarterback did not complete those passes with nobody around them, I'd be yelling at the offensive line if the pressure was there. I took a picture. Did I share it in our group? I didn't. No. I'll share that picture after this, and I'll show you what I mean. There's a picture that I took. Nobody around Spencer. The offensive linemen were 5 yards in front of him. Literally, nobody around him. He rolls to the left a little bit. LaPorta was wide open. It was only a 3-yard out route. It was just boom, boom. It was just a quick. I'm left-handed, so it makes it look easier. But all he's got to do, the high school quarterbacks to make this throw, is just square his shoulders and throw the ball. Yes, quarterbacks don't like to roll the opposite arm, right? It is. It's harder to go this way. But this throw is easy because it's not like he was throwing the deep corner route. The hard throw would be to throw the deep out route or the corner route. You're rolling left and you're right-handed. You got to square and throw, right? But this is a backyard play. 3-yard out, you're looking right at him. He's wide open. Just roll out, just go play catch like you're playing catch in the backyard.
Right.
So I don't know how they can make him comfortable, which is why I feel they have to go. They got to give Padilla a shot if Petrus, if he doesn't show success this week, right?
I agree.
If he's not, they have to repair both quarterbacks for this week, in my opinion. Because
there's just such a fine line, right? If you're the head coach, the offensive coordinator, the coaching staff in general, right? And there's a fine line between yanking a guy for not performing, right, and just being blindly loyal. Like there is a fine line in there, and if you're Joey Labus, if you're Padilla, you've got to be standing there kind of going, okay, well, is there a situation that could possibly come up at this point other than, Spencer breaking a leg that would get me on the field, right? And
you got to stop reading my mind. That was my next point. Is these players, can you imagine how you feel as a backup? I mean, like you're seeing, look at practice. You've seen him in practice. You're like, all right, I get it. He's better than me right now. But then you see in a game and you're going, that's not what I see in practice.
Right.
Right. So if he didn't transfer, because he wanted the challenge. He wanted an open challenge, right? And the only way to prove to these kids, this is just my thought, the only way to prove to these kids is to give Padilla a shot, because that would prove, okay, it was truly an open competition.
Right.
In my opinion. And if Petrus is still going to start, he has had success against Iowa State. Like I said, last year in the Iowa State game, that second quarter, he dominated.
Absolutely.
Iowa went.
In him. That's the thing. The coaches know too. It's in him.
It's just, is it going to be in him this day?
Right.
I mean, he's like that guy that shows up and throws 5 touchdowns one week, and then the next week are going, what the hell? So, I mean, there is players that are up and down like that. Sometimes you're just in the zone. But
the thing with Spencer, he's like a fireworks show, right? Sometimes you get the grand finale, the ooh, wow, and sometimes you get a bottle rocket, and you're like,
Yeah. How do you come up with this? Yeah, you're right. No, you're right. I mean, I don't. There's just no other way to put it when you put it like that. That's exactly. Granted, I will say this: last year in the Iowa State game, Petras was on fire, but Iowa didn't take advantage. Because remember, in the second quarter, Iowa back-to-back drives, they went 18 plays, 130 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Right, so they got the lead. Everything was. Don't be yawning on stream. I know you had a stream last night with somebody, but in the second half, the moment Iowa State started turning the ball over, Kurt shut the offense down, and then you couldn't take advantage of Petras being on fire. Right? He was 11 of 14 passing at one point in the game for like 110 yards or something, and a touchdown. And Goodson had a touchdown. Like the offense was rolling, but then once Iowa State did Iowa State things, Kirk was like, well, we're going to win this game. Just run the football. Don't do anything crazy. Let's kick field goals, and we're going to get out of here with a W. So Iowa they don't take advantage on days Petras is good, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't, because the moment he's good, because of how good Iowa's defense is, that on the days that Petras is good, they'll shut down the offense. That's the past. I don't know what they're going to do this year, but obviously after, we've heard all kinds of things and none of it came true. Other than
not at least week 1, it didn't.
You know what's been the mistake in all of this, and I will take this to I'll put this on Kirk or Brian or whoever coaching wise. Go back to Banks McCann 2001. McCann was the starter, but they did have some sets for Banks where they brought him in to do certain things. They've had 3 years to have some sets for Padilla to come in, and knowing that he is the more athletic of the two, to be able to have some things that we do just with Padilla in there, if nothing else, to put it on film, to make teams prepare for, to prepare for it or whatever, and just to give Padilla, some game reps here and there. I mean, again, we go back to you compare their numbers and they're pretty close, but yeah, because you're throwing Padilla into the fire with no reps, no real meaningful snaps until it becomes apparent that Spencer just flat out can't go. Okay, well, I guess we'll throw Padilla in there and see what he can do. And it wasn't terrible. It was on par with what Spencer's doing statistically. So, I mean,
the reason why his completion percentage was 48 is because receivers couldn't catch his ball. Right. So that's a big difference. He throws the worst football. Like you got to be an NFL receiver to catch his ball on a lot of them. Right?
But is that something that could get better with reps? Is that something that?
Oh no, 100%. It's where I'll just say, do you guys? Well, obviously, you probably remember Kurt Warner, right?
No, yeah, we do.
I know it sounds.
I remember hearing the name once or twice.
Okay. There was even a movie out about him a few months ago.
Right.
I think he passed my groceries one time.
Yeah. I shook his hand once when he was an Iowa Barnstormer, and my hand literally disappeared. His hands were so big, I was like, God. I was like, where'd my hand go? Okay, but the point of this is he had issues with the NFL ball and the college ball because his hands were so big, right? Now, how you adjust and how he had, even though the NFL ball is fatter, it's bigger. Nobody understands the NFL ball is fatter than the college ball, which is why the hand size of a quarterback is so huge, right? That's why they actually measure the hands. Kirk had to move his hand up or down and put his pointer finger at the top of the football. And he turned into, he was throwing tight spirals after that. So you have to, I don't know how big Padilla's hands are. I don't know his placement on the football, but it can be fixed to to throw spirals by your hand placement on the ball, depending on the size of your hands, how you throw it, how you release it. No, I could teach anybody to throw a spiral. I mean, I could teach anybody. And it's hand placement on the ball. So yes, that can be fixed, and that is what I want to see.
If you're,
I don't understand.
If you're a Big Ten college scholarship quarterback and you have throwing spiral issues, how did you get into that position? I'm just saying, like,
because, like I told you, my evaluation of Petrus, he played for one of the best high school coaches in California, and his receivers were so good. If you just go back and watch his film in high school, the receivers were wide open, and he never threw a perfect ball. Okay. So, like, he would just lob it and make sure the receiver can go under it. So his head coach literally told him, just put it up there. He's going to be 9 times out of 10, he's just going to be wide open. So just throw it up there and let the receiver jog under the ball or whatever. He never. If you guys, I know you guys probably don't remember my evaluation, but I shared it with everybody back when I did it because everybody was all excited because he was a 4-star. So I had to put out my opinion, obviously, which is my opinion is the reason I'm getting roasted. Iowa fans are funny when they're trying to roast me in week 1. Yeah, I got the game wrong, but guess what? We got the W. So that's all that matters. Roast me all you want, and we'll see what happens next week.
No, by the way, nobody saw that coming. No matter what they try to tell you.
Yeah,
it's tough to come on here and give your opinions and give our best educated guesses as to what's going to happen. But nobody saw that train wreck coming.
Because it never has happened before. That wasn't the norm. You're right. As bad as our offense is, it's never that bad.
Right.
That's true.
And coming in, we thought, okay, you know what? There's enough. The things that we talked about, winning on first down. These are the type of things that we if and a lot of what we were saying is if the team does these things, if they can get 3-4 yards on first down, if they can, then. But they weren't, right? And there was no way, they didn't do the things that they needed to do to be successful.
But this is what I'll say. I'm proud of Petrus for owning it.
Right.
I don't know if you guys know this. He apologized to the team. He owned it. He basically, when he was trying to give his post game, it's like he was taught. He was being taught don't be hard on yourself in public, at least. Because he would say, things like we were this and this away from, being good. And he was trying not to say, so like he knew. He was trying not to say that we were, a lot of throws away. Like we just didn't execute. But he kind of said that, me. Like there was a moment in his post game where he just went, well, it was me, right? So he knew.
Well, I mean, you can't pee on my leg and tell me it's raining, right? So, I mean, it's just like...
Okay, Judge Judy.
I'm just saying, like, what is he going to say? He kind of has to own it. I mean, you get up there a little bit. We missed throws. Well, who was the one making the throws? He was the only one, so it's not like we trotted 3 quarterbacks out there and they all missed. So, I mean...
Well, it's a valid point, but a lot of college kids don't do that.
Yeah, well...
Right? It's hard for adults. I mean, like I always say, I like animals more than I do most adults. Right. I love dogs. I do. I love dogs a lot more than most adults. Yeah. And it's because they won't accept that they're wrong or they don't accept responsibility. We have an issue with that, right? And Petrus did accept responsibility. Granted, he can't hide from it, but we've all met people who would be like, I didn't do that. That ain't me. Yeah, I didn't say that. I'm like, but it's right here. Right. That's what. So that's what yeah, you're right, Paul. But the fact that he did it in public, darn well, and the players all talk about it. The players all went up to him and said, don't worry, you'll be better next week. And he knew, right? But to say it in front of the media is a good thing, in my opinion.
The good news is for me, out of all of this, the team picked him up. right, during the game, right? Hey, look, you're not having your best day, but did the defense pout about it? No. Did the special teams, at some point, do they, hey, look, we're doing our part. The defense go, hey, we're doing our part. Come on, offense, get it together, because no, they just said, you know what? If you're not going to get it done today, we're going to go out and get it done. We're walking out of here with a dub, one way or another.
Right.
And that's all you can ask for the team. So that's a positive sign. But that's a slippery slope, man. That's dangerous. That's dangerous waters, because,
I mean, you could say that if this is not the norm, right? I mean, Iowa's had 2 10-win seasons the last 2 full years of football, right? Mm-hmm. Iowa's winning at a record pace in their history. They're recruiting at a record pace in their history. So so you're right as far as it's a slippery slope, but this is the slope we've freaking been on.
Yeah. Well, you're the one who posted the thing about the punting.
Oh yes.
If you want to share that share that here with it, because that's pretty fantastic.
Punting is winning. I don't care what you say. the rest of the country who punts more than 8 times was what 40 or 70 and 220 or something. What I don't remember the exact number.
It was like a 20% winning percentage.
Yeah, Iowa was 6-1. So they punted on games. They punted 8+ times. They're 6-1. Granted, I think the one is the Michigan game. I'm almost positive the one is the Big Ten championship loss. But to me, that was an amazing stat. However, but that is what Kirk wants, and that has a lot to do with Torrey Taylor, in my opinion, being able to pin the team deep, right? Yeah, you can punt the ball, but if you're not doing something with your punting, right? He averaged 48 yards a punt. He pinned them inside the 5 twice, 3 times. He pinned them inside the 10 2 or 3 times. There was only one bad punt that I can remember that the ball went through the end zone. I think only one time out of 10 punts to where the ball went into the end zone, and it obviously, unless they were too far away, he did great hang time. Do you remember on the 2 punt returns South Dakota State got? I don't even think they gained a yard. I think they actually went backwards a yard. Mm-hmm. So
yeah. But the one that went through the end zone, I can't remember who the guy was for our team, but he made a great effort to try to pull it back into the
who do you think
field.
I know
Roberts,
exactly.
Terry Roberts.
Yeah.
Well, he was so mad at it himself that he couldn't get his hands on that.
I guarantee you, Terry is the only player in the country on that situation. Went to the sideline, went, God, son of. You're like, just mad, right? I guarantee that dude. And with Cooper now, I mean, I think they got 2 very good gunners. Like Cooper was down there with Roberts.
Yeah,
right.
It's a competition between the 2. Who's going to get there
and sometimes, honestly, it takes 2 because the one's got to get the ball in position, and the other one may be the one to cover it up.
Right. It used to just be, who was it? It used to be Roberts and that number 17, the punt guy, the guy who caused that punt fumble in the Iowa State game.
Oh, God. Don't remind us.
That's Fernandez or something?
Oh, no. I can't remember. Kirk he had long hair, but he was a great gunner, too. Kirk was his, family on Parents' Night.
Oh, yeah.
His name? He was a star, too, on the
okay, yeah, that's the – I wasn't thinking of him. I was thinking of the one who never mind. I'm way off base on this one.
I'm talking about the punt fumble that won the game for Iowa.
Yeah.
He was
never mind. Yeah. Yep. I remember that.
By the way, the defense was so good Saturday. If they played, I didn't even catch it. Did X get in the game? Did Graves get in the game? I don't even know if they played, because one, they didn't have to, and 2, the defense was playing so well and getting off the field that I don't think either one of them Did they get any snaps? I didn't see.
Special teams.
Okay.
X was out there on special teams.
Okay.
But I don't remember seeing Graves.
I don't remember either. Graves is on the line, right?
Yeah.
But they
I
put. I don't remember seeing Graves, but he could have played. But the thing was, the defense, they couldn't put X at safety because if he made a mental error, the game was lost. Right. And there was one mental error by Merriweather that almost lost Iowa the game. But when the game is like that, where the defense has to play perfect, you can't put X back there just in case he didn't get the right call.
Yeah. Did you see after that play though? He was on the sidelines having a little conversation with Parker, and the camera showed it.
Yeah. Was it Castro that came down on that kickoff that shades of Bob Sanders? I mean, he even has kind of a physique about him. I was like, I had to who is that guy?
It was Castro. Yeah.
I got to tell you a couple of things. My son-in-law, he normally doesn't watch college football too much because he's a huge Raider fan, but he come over to watch with me, and so he doesn't know a lot about Iowa, very little. But he was impressed by the hitting that he saw on Saturday. He goes, "Listen to that hit," because he loves it when he loves a big hit. He goes, "Watch that hit." And then the other thing, his other observation is about halfway through the game, he goes, "You guys got to get rid of that quarterback." He doesn't even know about the past issues with him.
Yeah, no, he's got to wake up this week, and he always does. He always comes out and plays a game that you don't expect, right? I mean, there's a good possibility that Petrus has a great game this week because
it'd be nice.
He's proven that he can do it. So as much as I'm just strictly speaking on a competition level to make it fair. Like nobody in their right mind could watch that game and not think that the backup should get a shot if it was a competition, right? If Padilla is nowhere in sight, we knew this was Petrus's job. Then I see. Yeah, we better roll with him and just see what happens. God, that's right. You still getting that, Dean?
I am. I took my headsets off. I took my headsets off a little while ago and unplugged them, and I couldn't hear it through my laptop. But when I plugged it back in, it came back.
So it's it sounds to me like you're somehow tapped into the air traffic control station or something. Dean's over there landing planes.
Well, let me tell you a little secret about where I live. I am surrounded by acres and acres and acres of almond trees, and they're in harvest right now. And these guys are talking to each other on walkie-talkies because they're shaking trees, sweeping up the almonds, dumping the almonds into big trailers, and creating a lot of dust. But I have noticed that once in a while when I'm outside, I can kind of hear them talking to each other through the walkie-talkies. So maybe that's what we're picking up, and I'm the one to blame.
All right, how about just a non-Iowa thing real quick? Any other takeaways from the weekend that was college football? Anything stand out to any of you guys?
I was a little disappointed that I couldn't watch Iowa State because I wanted to watch that game really bad, and it was on ESPN Plus. I don't have ESPN Plus. Well, I had it when I had Spectrum, but when I lost Spectrum, I lost my Plus.
See, I have the Big 12 thing, so I get to see. I have it to where I can watch any game that I want because I have so many teams I want to watch.
Yeah. I don't have any Big 12 type of stuff. I have ACC. I have SEC. But you and I. But
you're a long ways away from those teams.
Yeah, I know it. But you and I are both on. Well, maybe I had that with Spectre. Maybe I don't have it with YouTube. I don't know. I can't remember now. But you and I both have YouTube. If you could have watched it, why couldn't I have watched it? I mean,
because I didn't watch it on YouTube. I watched it on. I have Big 12 Plus.
Oh, okay. I got it.
Like I have, so I can watch any game. I can watch Hawaii. I can watch because I have to watch Mississippi State every week to get my football fix. I gotta watch Iowa every week to get my Hawkeye fix, right? Like I'd love Iowa is my my dream coach spots, so to speak. Iowa is my passion, but my offense, reality is my offense I love and I love to teach is the air raid. So, I mean, I wouldn't be able to go in there and teach what Iowa does. Like I could, but I wouldn't want to because I would be really like, unless if I was a quarterback coach, I believe I can make a difference. It's because I can literally tell Petrus what he's doing wrong on the sideline between series, right? I mean, you could literally tell him what he's doing wrong, right? You could relax him. Like you could do. I don't know what Brian was telling him during the game. I don't know if he was trying to relax him. Was he chewing him out? Like I don't know what they were doing because really, what I like to use because obviously I'm just at the, I was always at the high school, the youth level, right?
Right.
A lot of those plays would just like play catch with your dad in the backyard type situation.
Right.
I mean, there's really nothing different than that. If you drop back, there's nobody around you. Your receiver's wide open. It's no different than running a button hook, right? Remember those? I can't remember what movie it is. He goes, just run a button hook, or like Varsity Blues. They're in the backyard throwing the ball. And he just hits him on a simple, out route, I think is what's in the movie. But that's what a lot of this is, right? Not that 2nd and 22 pass to Bruce. That was a play that teases you as a Hawkeye fan. You're like, oh, cow, did you see that? So it's in him, right? But there were so many plays on Saturday that was just like, just play catch with your dad. Just, get it out to him. I mean, granted, obviously.
Stupid question time. Do we need to put him in more of those situations where we're asking him to make the special play with his arm? Because maybe for him the pitch and catch stuff is that's his nemesis. But go ask him to
throw that skinny post that was wide open on that interception play. I mean, yeah, I don't think that's a stupid question. That would have been my first look on that play call against that defense. Okay, I don't want to get on a rant. I told you guys that I'm going to try not to talk so much. But on that play that he threw the interception on, if you're reading the defense, pre-snap, you could see that skinny post is going to be wide open, right? So as a quarterback, this is why a lot of players can't play quite yet because you have to understand the system. So the play call. You know what this guy's doing, this guy's doing, this guy's doing. You see that defense. You're like, oh, my primary is Laporta, right? The play is designed to go Laporta right here. But they got that pretty well defensed. It looks like pre-snap. So you're going to tell yourself, well, that's probably not going to work, but I'm going to see it post-snap, right? Once I say hike, if this linebacker does what I think it's going to do, and that's going to cover Laporta, that skinny post is going to be wide open because there's a huge window. That's all into quarterbacking. Like it's not just the design plays. This is. Oh, I'm going to get on a rant. I'm sorry.
Right. Sorry about that. Hey, guys, we're gonna go ahead. Just finish up what you're going to say. And
all right. Yeah, I'll end it. I'll end it here. It's just the plays are designed for other receivers to get open too, right? You don't just have one look. You do have a primary receiver, but sometimes the defense wins. Sometimes you just take that L, right? You either throw the ball away because they defended it well, or you're like, oh, this is going to be good. I mean, the play is not designed to go here, but I can see right there. There's a huge window on that skinny post that I can just drill it right there. Yeah. So that's where I'm at as far as Petrus as a QB.
Right. It's just my concern right now is if you're Iowa State or anybody left on our schedule, and you're scouting Iowa, you're thinking to yourself, the field is this wide and this deep, but we only have to defend 20 yards an end. Because as it stands right now, it's not that they can't, it's just they're not even going to really try to go over the top. So, I mean, and if we're not going to try, why are you going to have a safety deep back there? You know, now maybe with Keegan on the field that might change. I don't know, but
it'll definitely change once Keegan's on the field. But maybe they just don't feel that anybody they've got right now can go that deep right now and get there and get open.
And even if the offensive line does a decent job of opening a hole for the running back, let's just say, I mean and we hit the hole. You're talking about a 4 or 5 yard gain because you know the defense is just they're keen, and they're not even in the back of their mind going, okay, run first, but I need to make sure that I don't get beat over the top. Like that's just not a thought that they're worried or concerned about.
No, I mean that's how I would start the game.
Yeah.
I'd make Iowa prove me wrong.
Right.
I mean that's what I would do. I would literally do what South Dakota State did. I would make them prove me wrong, and maybe every team will do that we play. Change up your. Who cares what your defensive scheme is? Right. Scheme differently against Iowa.
Right.
Yeah. Guys, we got to start wrapping this up a little bit. I mean, we've gone probably a record amount long time, and
we're well over an hour and a half at this point. So
yeah, we should just kind of wrap this up. Any final comments and stuff you want to say? The one thing I want to ask you guys, if you know for certain Iowa's game is on BTN with Iowa State this weekend, but BTN has also scheduled 4 games at the exact same time, which means. Are they going back to overflow, or are we going to BTN Plus, or what are we doing to see some of these games? And I don't know which one Iowa is going to be on.
We're on the BTN National.
Yeah.
Are we?
Yeah.
We are for sure. The other 3 games that time will be on the Plus or the.
Well, they might be on FS1.
Or Fox.
Fox.
Yeah.
Oh, are you saying that when they were showing that they weren't all going to be BTN games? They might be on the other channels.
Yeah, I mean Fox owns BTN. So
right, I know. Yeah.
They do a lot. It depends on the area you live as far as what they're going to do.
Well, it kind of scared me when it said check your local listings for your team.
Well, the Iowa State game is going to be the national. I mean, that's especially with the story behind it. I mean, Iowa State hasn't beat Iowa 7 tries, I think. 7. Matt Campbell's never beat Iowa.
How did Decker do? How did Decker do this week? You guys know?
Yeah, he did well.
I didn't get to watch. I didn't get to watch him.
He was 23 of 29 passing. I mean,
oh my God, that's good.
Well,
how many yards?
I don't remember the exact. I only cared about his completion percentage because he's actually the record holder at Iowa or in the state of Iowa. He's the best quarterback to come out of the state of Iowa in a long time.
Who did he play for in high school? Do you remember?
Yeah. I think I want to say it was the northwest side of Iowa. I can't remember off the top of my head. I did know. I mean, I do know for whatever reason. I don't know now. But my brain is still on the Iowa's offense.
It seems like Iowa State gets those quarterbacks and we can't get them.
Yeah, but they don't win.
Right.
I mean,
that's true. That's true. But they need more people. They need more. You know, I took Iowa years to build their depth. Now Iowa State has to start working on their depth, but we'll get into that Friday for sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, guys.
I could probably go on another rant and take another half hour. So
I don't know if we can get anybody to watch 2 hours of this.
Well, I mean, there's 4-hour streams. I mean, so
I know. Oh, I know it. I know. There's a couple of people. I noticed that. I know the person you really love, Corey Brada, goes 3 or 4 hours on his live instant reaction show.
Yeah,
so,
he's been.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say that he's been doing it for so long, though, too. So
yeah,
and he has a set schedule where we don't.
Yeah,
we don't. Yeah. When you have a set schedule, everybody knows when your show's going to be on. So that's
right. We're trying to do that. Are we getting more consistent, guys?
We are.
We just have to figure out a way to put our lives together to where we could be like Paul. We have to go off Paul's schedule. You and I don't really. I mean, my professional life is football. It's the gambling world, and it's
ultimately, fellas, we just got to clean a few things up. You know,
Oh, yeah, you're right. We do. But you know what? Paul's our Petrus. You know why we're not?
Yeah.
You know why we're not?
Both Petrus and Ferentz guaranteed a better performance on Saturday, so we'll see.
It's not like they have another direction to go. I mean,
Could it get worse? It
better.
can get worse. It can get worse.
No, it can't.
No, we wouldn't get the opportunity to win a game by scoring 2 safeties.
The only way it gets worse is if the offense turns the ball over. Right?
True. Yeah.
That's their only way to go would be to turn the ball over and actually lose the game for the defense.
Right.
I mean, this is why Petrus plays. We know it. He doesn't turn the ball over and the defense wins the games. No matter how we looked at it. Petrus had, I mean, God, I don't want to get into it because we'll be here another hour.
Yeah.
But I just want to, for the coach's sake, for everybody to see reality and what's going on behind the scenes, Padilla has to get a shot.
Right.
I mean, I would let Petrus play if that's what they're going to do. I understand it because he's had success against Iowa State, right? But I would prepare. I would prepare both quarterbacks to be playing.
All right.
And you know what? Going into the week here, it would be a mistake. It would be a mistake if the coaches didn't go to both of them, and one, let them know what the situation is. Not to put any extra, and this is why you take the pressure off of Petrus, and you say, look, we're going to build some stuff in this week for Padilla. It's planned, so it's not going to be about your performance or whatever. But we want to be prepared to, and maybe we don't go to it right if things are going well, but we want to have this built in, have it ready. Just in general, if we need a spark, whatever the case may be, there's ways you can approach it and say, look, and if you are having some success, either way, Alex, we want you to be, we're going to have a special set of stuff. We're going to try to get it in sometime in the first or second quarter, whatever the case may be. But I would be at least preparing for the for that to occur if I'm them, so that at least maybe it doesn't feel like you're yanking Petrus.
Yeah.
If you are.
Okay, I think we all agree. The team agrees, the players agree, the coach agree, the fans agree. We all agree they got to play better offense this week. But guys, we need to get out of this place, and
absolutely.
I'm afraid of chasing fans away who won't watch an hour and 45 minutes right now. Okay. Anyhow.
All right.
Guys, let's call this good. I'll see you guys on Friday, and we'll do a good pregame.
Sounds good.
Okay. Take out.
Bye, Terry.
Bye, Terry.
Bye, Terry.